The thing about Andy's writing is that, there's a lot of science in there, and it treats its audience as intelligent, and it assumes that you're intelligent.
When you read the book, you think, oh, this person thinks I'm smart.
I understand that you think I'm the right person for this mission. I understand the stakes.
Object approaching.
If we do nothing, everything on this planet will go extinct, including us.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller, the Oscar-winning directing duo, famed for their genre-subverting hit movies which include Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the 21 Jump Street reboot, and the Lego Movie, were specially requested to direct by the movie's star and co-producer Ryan Gosling. And once they signed onto the project and were joined by their longtime friend, fellow filmmaker Drew Goddard, who wrote the screenplay for the film, adapted from the New York Times best-selling novel Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. All the pieces were assembled to take this unique science fiction tale from page to screen, and make a film that would be funny as well as family-friendly, while also showing respect and recognition for just how smart the young audiences are.
Judita Da Silva, Arise Play, Nigeria. My first question is for Chris.
That's me.
We were talking last night about how they don't make films like this anymore. And that's kind of because my generation benefited from inheriting movies like Cocoon and Inner Space and Short Circuit and Flight of the Navigator.
Yes.
So we knew family movies that were child-friendly but not childish.
Right. Yes.
And this film never dumbs down to appeal to young people. It respects their intelligence. Was that motivated by the nature of the IP you were working with, or did you consciously as filmmakers decide that I want to make a film that could speak to a young audience without condescension?
Kind of both, I would say. Like the book, in its soul doesn't have, there's no bad language or sex or guns or anything like that.
Yeah, and Grace is a teacher, right? So he doesn't curse in the novel. We wanted the movie to be accessible 8 to 80, and we thought that the story was so universal that made a lot of sense.
But the thing about Andy's writing is that, there's a lot of science in there, and it treats its audience as intelligent, and it assumes that you're intelligent.
When you read the book, you think, oh, this person thinks I'm smart. And it's so affirming, and we wanted the movie to make you feel the same way.
And that was our, that's our attitude on like the Spider-Verse movies also. We never want to talk down to the audience. The audience is smarter than people give them credit for. And, when I was a kid watching some of those movies, if there's things I didn't understand, you're, as a kid, always trying to use context clues to figure out what's going on. You don't know a lot of things, and you assume that's fine. You keep going.
And we test these movies quite rigorously. The audience are incredibly consistent, and they're always right.
Ryan Gosling steps into the lead role of school teacher Ryland Grace, an unassuming scientist who figures out the sun is dying. Then he finds himself in the midst of the finest scientific minds in the world, led by the intimidating Ava Stratt, played by actress Sandra. And somehow Grace ends up in space with amnesia on a mission to save the world. A mission that calls on all of his intelligence and all of his ingenuity. And when he crosses paths with something out of this world, it also calls on all of his humanity.
Dr. Grace, the world is counting on you.
No, I'm sorry.
I'm Grace. I'm gonna call you Rocky. We're here for the same reason. His son is dying too. If we're gonna save our planet, we have to learn how to communicate. Check this out. We have about 250 words. Let's find you a voice.
Why is a school teacher in space?
Oh. Nope.
Why is a school teacher in space?
Try this.
I am Rocky. I like.
I noticed also that at different points in the film, you really took your time with the pacing with certain scenes. Like, for instance, when Grace and Rocky meet, or when Grace and Rocky say goodbye. And I thought that was unexpected for like a sci-fi adventure. But then afterwards, I was thinking to myself, like, in scenarios in real life, for instance, when you're saying goodbye to a family member at the airport, you do turn around 4 or 5 times.
You never want to say goodbye.
So
that was the idea of that scene.
Were you like, through the film, were you conscious of, I want to do something that can present something that is presentationally alien, but still emotionally human?
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, the whole thing is about projecting personhood onto our rock, you know? And when you go to the movies, it is an act of empathy, that you imagine what these flickering lights are thinking and feeling, right? And in Grace's case, he learns how to find the personality in like a blank space.
Yeah.
You know, and so and then he forms this deep bond with this character just by looking more closely at him.
Yeah. And for instance, with sci-fi movies like, let's say, Gravity or The Martian or Moon, there is a visual sweet spot that every director finds where you can show the wonder of an expansive landscape like space, but then the confinement of solitary isolation of an astronaut. But all of that comes from camera work and what the director chooses to contain within the frame.
Yeah.
That's how we pick up on everything, and you do that with this film. So did you have a North Star for where you would find the visual pocket for what Project Hail Mary would be?
Well, we wanted, you know, this is a movie about someone who is not, he wakes up in space, and usually that story is about someone who's really lonely. But this is about someone who's lonely on Earth. And he goes to space, and that's where he actually feels at home.
Yeah.
It makes a friend, yeah.
Right? So we wanted space to feel wondrous and inviting and cozy.
Right.
You know, and in a funny way, Earth is the place where cinematically there's a ceiling. You know, and he feels like a little bit like he doesn't quite fit in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know?
And and I think oftentimes like the space will be like very formal and distant and cold, and we wanted it to feel up close, handheld, and captured, and help make you like be right there with him and be really subjective, and you know, be in the real sets that we were shooting in the interior of the spaceship. And just make you feel like it was real, because it's such a fantastical story, meeting an alien and becoming friends. The more real and shot, you know, naturalistically we could make it, the better it was.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us. And your body of work you're building is going to be the way we felt about those 80s movies.
Oh, goodness, that's very generous. Very thoughtful questions. I appreciate it.
As Phil Lord and Chris Miller continue to shape their brand of cinema that reconnects to a bygone era of filmmaking, that tells challenging and witty stories with transgenerational appeal, Project Hail Mary's heartwarming story of an everyday man who is thrust into an unexpected situation that turns him into an unexpected hero who forms an unexpected friendship, unapologetically showcases and champions the best aspects of human nature.
Now!
If Grace Rocky saves stars, we can go home.
I think this is a one-way trip for me.
I will not let Grace die.